In the visual arts, in education, typically the teachers will teach the art elements of principal design first, like the language, right?
Yeah.
But I have found that it's better to share that with them as they have the need for like color, or composition. Until they know what they need, the tools don't mean anything. And if you learn the whole alphabet and don't have anything to say, it's not very important. So
Yeah.
Switching that and turning it on its head, I think, was effective in helping people, as they're struggling, say, hey, you may want to think about this, or, but it's not very helpful to kind of lay it out mentally. It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
To give them all the visual language and at their their fingertips, but if they don't know what they connect to, and that emotional connection or mental connection to those elements, it doesn't mean anything. They're just meaningless, and they're just mechanical.
Well, they don't know what medium and what process is going to work for what they want to say.
Exactly.
Like we had an artist on here previously, Dave Hobbin, and he talked about like when he first started in
Dave's
school.
Great.
Oh yeah, you know him. Oh yeah. No, he talked about how they really pushed him to do oil paintings, and he's just like, it just took too long. It drove me nuts. I remember I was roommates with him actually when we were in college. It was just so random. Again, he's like one of the most successful artists in the state. We were roommates. Like, successful artists are around me. I've randomly. But anyway, he's like, he would do most of his work with a ballpoint pen. Yeah. When we were roommates. And he's like, I don't know what it is, but I just really like a ballpoint pen. I'm like, you sure you don't want to get like a fancy $5 pen maybe? He's like, no, a big ballpoint pen does the job. And I can't get around that. Yeah. And that's what worked for him. And he's had a lot of success with it.
Oh, yeah. And I'm really a firm believer that I'm drawn to printmaking, the multi-layers, forming an image and having it emerge. It seems to align with my mental sensibilities and my creative approach. Yeah. And I think every artist needs to stumble upon that medium that resonates with the way they process things.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And it takes a while.
And again, I mean, just to tie it back to filmmaking, I mean, you can see this with filmmaking. It's harder to see because there's like more equipment and there's more people around. But in a way, like in a movie set or even how you handle the camera is kind of like your pen. And it's a very expensive pen. It's a $10,000 a day pen, but it's like your pen. And you can see like how like Woody Allen like orchestrates it differently than Michael Bay or, and it's just keeping it small. I mean, for me personally, like I really would rather work on the movie than manage crew. And so I just try to have as few people as possible. Again, it's finding the way you like to work. And I think like people try to impose on you the way you want to work. I mean, the way they work and project it out. But really, I mean, that's really generous of you that you let people discover their own and recognize that and are sophisticated enough to understand that that's what people need to do.
Well, and in the educational system, it often that people want the end product to be really polished and finished, even in high school or middle school or even elementary. But if it looks good, but they haven't gone through the mental, emotional work to figure out the journey to get there, and that journey is personal and meaningful, then they've kind of you've cut out the important part. Is that point of discovery, learning their own voice and the ideas that they're wanting to search. Everyone can do a painting like Van Gogh, right?
Yeah.
But why do we want any more Van Goghs? We want the uniqueness that each individual has, their perspective, and that's something I try to emphasize in the classroom is conjuring that out and creating an environment where there could be individual growth for the individual to find their way.
No, it's true. World. And also, I mean, even like you kind of see, I mean, once you spend a long time art, you see what mattered to you in those particular times, and what you learned and what you grew. And you might look back and like, oh, well, it's interesting that mattered to me when I was 17 or 16. I mean, to me, I've noticed a lot in high school art, there's a lot of friend paintings. Like, here's my friend. In fact, I went to the high school art show here at Springville, and there's like a bunch of friends with their face pressed into glass, and it was like kind of interesting perspective. And it's like, because friends are so important to them, to high school students. But in a way, that's good because that's what they're connecting with. That's what's important to them. Yeah,
but there are also in that same show, there's people working on individual things like body image and other things that are a little bit more, personal and edgy and risky.
No, don't get me wrong. I mean, like high school art shows are fascinating in their range of quality. I mean, again, I thought that was actually fine. I mean, whoever the artist is, I'm not bashing them. I mean, good for them. Getting in the show is hard. It's super competitive.
Oh, it is. It's very competitive. Yeah.
But I mean, there were 2 pieces in there that were as good as any piece you could see anywhere. I mean, like it could have come out of like one of the top graduate schools, and it was amazing, And again, like, this is astonishing what like 18-year-olds can accomplish.
Absolutely. If they're given the right environment and the encouragement, they can do a great job.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. I think in a way, I think we kind of sell ourselves short, like, because like all the portraits, like all the people on the money are old, but actually when they did the thing that made them be on the money, they were actually very young. Like George Washington was 40 when he led the revolution. Most of his generals were 25.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But we kind of sell people short. We're like, absolutely. Oh, you'll do that later. But 18-year-olds can do great work. Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein at 19. There you go. So that's good.